Hi, my name is Christy and I'm from Safe and Respectful Relationships. Today I'm going to be talking about mental health and domestic violence and posing the question, is domestic violence better viewed as a mental health issue? Perhaps the best way to reduce the rates of domestic violence is by understanding the psychological causes for both genders in order to create more effective intervention and prevention programs. Some of the psychological factors that can lead to domestic violence include psychopathology, such as anxiety, depression, PTSD, personality disorders, you've got attachment issues, stress, lack of resources, angry or hostile temperament, conflict, poor communication skills, you've got grief and loss, feeling of powerlessness, and even family of origin issues. So if you were abused as a child, for example. So currently, to treat domestic violence, we have the outdated and far too narrow Duluth model. This model does not take into consideration the psychological factors that can lead to domestic violence. People who display abusive behaviours usually have emotional struggles such as poor impulse control, emotion dysregulation, jealousy, insecurity, poor communication skills, alcohol and drug abuse, and usually a family history of violence, whether that be they grew up in a home environment where there was violence that they witnessed, or they experienced child abuse or sexual abuse. The Duluth model does not take into consideration mental distress or substance abuse. So a study examining mental health and domestic violence found that individuals who had acted abusively towards their intimate partner were rated highly for having conditions such as PTSD and depression. They also rated highly for generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, social phobia, and alcohol and drug abuse. So mental health problems have actually been closely linked to aggressive behaviours and domestic violence and cannot be ignored. So the Duluth model that's currently being used to treat domestic violence is rooted in a feminist and socio-cultural concept of domination and control. The model explains that domestic violence arises because of a man's need to exhibit power and control over his female partner. The prominent tool used by the Duluth model is the power and control wheel, where it shows that men use male privilege in order to control and abuse their female partner with financial and emotional abuse, violence, intimidation, and isolation. What it doesn't consider is female partners who abuse their male partners or lesbians who are experiencing domestic violence. It also doesn't take into consideration the psychological factors leading to domestic violence or substance abuse. To date, there is no evidence-based consensus regarding what is the most effective intervention for treating domestic violence or violent behaviours, yet the Duluth model is the most widely used intervention. There is also no empirical evidence to support the use of the Duluth model, yet it continues to be used unchallenged. And the Duluth model rarely takes into consideration any of the mental health issues, stating that the main causes of domestic violence is a socialised act in which boys and men are taught to use power and control over females. So that's where I propose that a psychological model would be a far more effective intervention for treating domestic violence. And if the Duluth model is correct and domestic violence arises because of a need for power and control, then that actually has psychological causes behind that. Because if you think about an individual who, for example, had experienced a family history of violence or experienced child abuse or sexual abuse, they're already feeling a loss of control and a need to remain in control for safety factors. It's a safety mechanism. They're trying to protect themselves by remaining in control. But then if you couple that with, say, for example, a sense of rejection, maybe they were rejected at work or by a friend, or maybe they feel like they're lacking in comparison to others, or they were overlooked for a promotion, or they're just not getting that big break, or their work wasn't given credit when it was due, and they're just always feeling like they're falling short. So if you then put that with a feeling of loss of control, this individual then goes about trying to feel a sense of control, and they just don't have the tools or the strategies or the resources in order to be able to manage the emotions that are arising. And it's scary for them. It is incredibly scary, and they're doing whatever they can to feel in control again, which the Duloth model, it ignores all of those factors. So that's where I believe a mental health model would be far more effective, where it addresses the mental health issues or the mental health factors that lead into domestic violence. So that's my thoughts on the link between mental health and domestic violence, and my belief of why I think we should do away with the current model and replace it with a psychological model. So that's it for today. If you want to be notified of new content, hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and comment below. Let me know what you think, what your thoughts are of today's video, and if you agree that domestic violence has mental health causes, or even if you think that there is a better intervention out there that is better suited for treating domestic violence. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe and respectful. See ya!